Hello, hello, John.
What's up, Gigi?
Yeah, long time no see. Yeah, I saw you
Seriously?
like 3 years ago.
Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah, yeah. I had some question for you. Yeah, and then why did you direct this movie?
Well, I remember seeing it on Broadway for the first time over 10 years ago when I was shooting my first movie. And I remember being so moved by the musical that it spoke to my own family. Even though I'm not Latino, even though I'm not from Washington Heights, I grew up in a Chinese restaurant, but I knew what it felt like to grow up in an immigrant family, a community of aunties and uncles taking care of you and putting their hopes and their dreams on your shoulders. Also knew, having what my abuela Claudia was, which was my boo boo, who taught me how to make Chinese food, make wontons and folding, and so it said everything that I wanted to say about my family, even though it wasn't my family, and so I knew I wanted to be a part of it in some way.
So, you direct Crazy Rich Asians 3 years ago. Oh, I think it should be 4 years ago, and right now is in the high. So, do you find out what is the similarities and differences when you direct that movie and this movie?
Yeah, well, when I did Crazy Rich Asians, I knew a lot of the details because I'm a Chinese American. So going there, I knew what an Asian American going to Asia for the first time felt like. So I could get into all the details. Even though I didn't know Singapore that well, I still had to sort of listen and hear and learn a lot. And this one was a bit different that I actually don't know what it's like to grow up in Washington Heights. So luckily I had the best guides ever, Lin-Manuel Miranda and Kiara, who showed me what was beautiful about their neighborhood, where they shot their home videos when they were kids, what he wrote this music about. He wrote it about these streets, and yet they weren't ever performed in there. So it was a different process. But having done Crazy Rich Asians, I knew the importance of the details. I knew the importance of what it would mean to the audience to see food that they recognized from their own families, hear sounds that they would recognize from their own neighborhoods. And even if you hadn't, you would be fascinated by it and want to know more and want to listen and taste all of those things and share it with your friends and family.
Yeah, I wonder what's your life after the Crazy Rich Asians come out. So did you get more and more opportunities?
Yeah, my whole life changed after Crazy Rich Asians. I got married. I had a daughter. I have a son. In the Heights that we shot, I have another baby coming. I moved, so there was a lot. But I also think I saw the power of film. I saw the power of movies, that it can change people's perspectives on something that, when I first started Crazy Rich Asians, it was really for myself. I wanted to see a whole Asian cast in a beautiful light with hope and joy. And so I think I only got addicted to that I wanted to do more things that challenged me, that challenged the world, that met this moment as the world is getting closer, that we got to understand each other better. And so, I would say my whole perspective of who I was and what I wanted to do in movies changed.
In this movie, when you shoot this movie, I think you have interact with the laborers in the Washington Heights. Can you talk about it in details? How you learn from them?
Yeah, I learned a lot from them. One, how to work with a neighborhood. We actually shot on the streets of Washington Heights, so you had to engage with them. You couldn't just plop your camera down. You had to talk to the neighbors. You had to talk to them about what you were doing, explain to them. And they were some of them were dancers in our show. Some of them were background actors in our show. Some of them just looked out their windows and watched us for weeks out their window. And they couldn't have been more kind, could have been more welcoming. Of course, they would yell at us if we were in their parking space, but that's kind of like how you are with family. I remember when I brought my mom to set and I said, sit here, don't move. I got to go shoot this thing. And I left for a second. I came back and she was up on the second floor with a family from Washington Heights drinking beer. That they just saw her lonely down there, so they invited her up. And that was the kind of environment it was in Washington Heights. So much so that when my son was born, I named him Heights because I loved the word that that it evokes this idea of dreaming big and seeing beyond your windowsill. And I wanted to say that word every day of my life, and I wanted him to hear that word every single day of his life.
I remember when I read another article about you, and then I remember you was grew up in San Francisco area, Bay Area, and then your father owned a restaurant, and then you grew up in a restaurant. So this one is kind of similar, really grassroots, right? Grassroots. So what is your connection with the story?
Yeah, I think that growing up in a restaurant around a father and a mother who worked hard for our family, who protected our family, who embraced where they came from and instilled that into us. And I think their vision for us was to fit in and but never forget where we came from. And so I think I got to me, watching my mom and dad work really hard, sweat for their work in the kitchen, in the front, I think that was very inspiring as a young person to see that. And I put them on a pedestal. They were my heroes. They are my heroes to this day. And I think that that's what we try to do in the Heights, is to show that the bodega owner that you pass by every day, maybe in your own city, works hard for their family. And how admirable is that they are just as much of a hero in someone's story as any hero that's been in the movies before, and that we should look up to those people who work hard for their families.
I think what are the challenges when you shoot this movie?
Mm-hmm. There are a lot of challenges. What shooting in a real city, doing a musical number is big. You can't just close down one street. You have to close down 2 blocks to the left, 2 blocks to the right, 2 blocks north, 2 blocks south. So it was an enormous logistical endeavor that we all had to take part in. 96,000, we did a whole musical number in these pools. So we had to have 500, 600 extras. And you had to have lifeguards to make sure no one drowned. There were 5-year-olds to 80-year-olds. So you had to have towels that kept them dry so they didn't get hypothermia. We had fire marshals there because we had barbecues with smoke so nothing would catch on fire. Plus, it was raining that day. So the scene is supposed to be the hottest day in Washington Heights, and it's raining every 15 minutes. So there were a lot of logistical challenge when you decide to shoot in a real city.
So I think it's your first time, and so how to bring up, it's like a Broadway show. So how to bring a Broadway show to a big screen?
Yeah, that was always a challenge, especially a show that was very popular. So for me, it was not about trying to translate anything. It was just about going back to what Kiara and Lin wrote initially and what they were trying to express in these songs. And how can cinema be used to enhance that? So for instance, in movies, you can be 10,000 feet away, which you can't be in a Broadway show, and you can be 2 inches away from them, which you can't do in a Broadway show. And that means you have more nuance. So we get to be right in the moment, in the perspective of Usnavi when he's looking out the window and he's yearning for something more. And there's a reflection of the audience on the other side of the community on the other side dancing. And it's begging him to dream bigger. It's daring him to break the window. And so those little moments, and the movies are all made in, yes, big moments, but really in the little moments, that we really looked at those areas of what we could bring to the show.
Okay, I think I only got how many minutes left? So can I take a screenshot of you?
Let's do it.
Yeah, I just do it right now. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yes, and thank you for your time. Yeah, I think it's kind of challenging to have a Broadway style movie and also have you work on a Latino background movie, but it's good. It's good, and it brings joy to audience. Yeah.
Thank you. That's all we wanted to do, was bring joy and love and community to the world. We know that it's been a hard year, and what better way to come out of it than seeing the people of Washington Heights who know what struggle means, who know how to get back up again because because of each other. And what better way to ring that new chapter in all of our lives as we come out of isolation than seeing the joy and love of these streets.
Thank you so much for your time. And then, I think I'm fine. And
Perfect. Thanks, Gigi.
Thank you so much for your time. And then good luck of the rest of the day.
Thank you. Tell your friends to come.
Yeah, definitely.
Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Bye. You 鬧人啊 Why you call me? 好食嘅。點解我唔記得關實？其實錄都冇用。激死我！你影響咗我。慢，傻，傻。